At 11:02 p.m., the Ohio sky was still, until it wasn't. A U.S. Army Reserve helicopter, a UH-1H Huey, was flying over Mansfield, Ohio, returning to Cleveland after routine maneuvers. On board were 4 experienced servicemen: Captain Lawrence Coyne, co-pilot Lieutenant Arrigo Jezzi, Crew Chief Sergeant John Healy, and Sergeant Robert Januszek. What they encountered next became one of the most detailed and credible UFO cases in modern American history. The crew was cruising at 2,500 feet over rolling farmland. Suddenly, Sergeant Januszek spotted a red light approaching from the west. At first, it seemed like another aircraft, but in seconds, the light changed course, bearing directly toward them, fast and deliberate. Captain Coyne grabbed the controls and initiated an emergency descent. They dropped at up to 2,000 feet per minute. Radio contact failed. The crew braced for impact. But at 1,700 feet, the object stopped. Instantly, it hovered in front of and above them, matching their path. What they saw wasn't a plane. It was a massive, metallic, cigar-shaped craft, about 60 feet long, gunmetal gray, and eerily silent. A red light glowed at its nose. A green beam suddenly shot from its midsection, sweeping into the helicopter's cockpit. All 4 men saw it. The entire cabin lit up green. But what happened next defied explanation. Despite the helicopter's controls being set for descent, with the collective lever pushed all the way down, the craft began to climb. Rapidly, the altimeter showed an ascent of 1,000 feet per minute, completely uncommanded by the pilot. Simultaneously, the magnetic compass spun erratically. Instruments flickered. The object held position for about a minute, then shifted direction, tilting 45 degrees, and accelerated westward at impossible speed. The crew felt a distinct jolt, as if detached from the force holding them. They regained control and flew straight to Cleveland, where they immediately filed reports with both the Federal Aviation Administration and military command. This was no prank. These were trained servicemen, calm under pressure, with no history of making extraordinary claims. And they weren't the only witnesses. On the ground near Charles Mill Lake, a family driving along Route 430 stopped when they saw the craft hovering over the helicopter. They described a pear-shaped object as big as a school bus, emitting a green glow that bathed the entire chopper. Their account, independent, spontaneous, and nearly identical to the crew's, would later be corroborated by investigators. Within days, the Coyne incident made national headlines. The National Enquirer awarded the crew $5,000 for the report's scientific value. The story featured in documentaries and was highlighted by Rod Serling. Captain Coyne even addressed the United Nations about the global need to investigate UFOs with scientific rigor. Skeptics weighed in. The prominent debunker Philip J. Klass suggested the red light was an Orionid meteor and the green beam an illusion. But the crew rejected this. Meteors don't hover, match a helicopter's trajectory, or trigger forced ascents and instrument failure. Other theories invoked military aircraft, perhaps a KC-97 tanker, but no official flight logs matched the encounter. And those aircraft made noise. The object Coyne's team described was silent, agile, and unlike anything conventional. Ufologists proposed electromagnetic interference as a cause of the system anomalies. The radio blackout, erratic compass, and forced climb could, they argued, result from intense localized fields. Yet the incident remained stubbornly unresolved. There was no radar tracking, no photos, just 4 military eyewitnesses with corroborating ground observers, describing a flying object that manipulated their aircraft without contact, then vanished into the night. Unlike many UFO reports, the Coyne case doesn't hinge on vague lights in the sky. It involves a close encounter, mechanical anomalies, and a dramatic physiological experience shared across multiple professionals. Nearly 50 years later, the Coyne incident stands unshaken. It wasn't a dream. It wasn't hysteria. It wasn't imagination. It was logged, reported, and investigated. And still, unexplained. Was it an experimental craft? Atmospheric anomaly? Something else? We may never know. But on that October night in 1973, above the fields of Mansfield, Ohio, something real, something extraordinary, entered the lives of 4 men and left them forever changed. If you liked what you watched, please like and subscribe. We post interesting and crazy stories from throughout history every Wednesday and Saturday. Yesterday's craziness? Because yesterday was crazy too.